The final silence of Outlander isn't a peaceful one. It's a silence pregnant with the weight of history and the heavy scent of damp earth and pine. As we settle into the closing moments of episode 8, the camera lingers on the sprawling wilderness of North Carolina, a place that has been both a sanctuary and a graveyard for the Fraser clan. We see Jamie and Claire standing at the edge of the clearing, looking out over the land they fought so hard to keep. But the atmosphere isn't just one of nostalgia. There's a specific, rhythmic pulse to the editing here that suggests a closing circle. Throughout this final season, we've been haunted by the idea of the ghost, that spectral figure of Jamie Fraser that Frank Randall saw in 1940s Inverness. For years, fans have debated how a man who cannot travel through the stones could appear in the future. As the couple retreats toward the tree line, the lighting shifts from the golden hue of a sunset to a cold, ethereal blue. This isn't just a stylistic choice, it's a signal. The forest on the ridge has always been depicted as a living entity, but in these final moments, it feels like a portal. When Claire pauses to look back, she isn't looking at their home. She's looking at the space between the trees where the air seems to shimmer with the same heat haze we see at Craig Na Dun. The dialogue in this section is sparse, but every word carries the gravity of a lifetime. Jamie remarks that the birds have gone quiet, a callback to his Highland upbringing where silence in the woods meant a predator, or something supernatural, was near. The suspense builds not through action, but through the realization that the Frasers are no longer alone in their timeline. We see a flickering light deep within the thicket, too steady to be a firefly and too white to be a lantern. It's the visual representation of the secret mentioned in our title. This secret is rooted in the letters of inquiry subplot that has been simmering in the background. As they walk deeper into the woods, the camera stays tight on their faces, capturing the transition from aging pioneers back into the legendary lovers whose bond transcends the physical world. The suspense peaks when Jamie stops dead in his tracks, his eyes fixed on a specific rowan tree, a tree known in Celtic folklore to ward off evil and protect against enchantment. Tucked into the bark is a small weathered piece of gemstone, glowing with a faint, dying light. This is the moment the audience realizes that the stones aren't the only way to bridge the gap between now and then. The forest itself has become a conductor for the energy Claire has spent her life navigating. As we analyze this ending, we have to look at the hidden nature of this reveal. The showrunners have cleverly buried the lead under the emotional weight of the character farewells. While most viewers are crying over the montage of memories, the real story is happening in the background. The secret in the forest is a time loop anchor. It suggests that Jamie's spirit didn't just end up in the future by chance. He planted a part of his essence, or perhaps a physical object imbued with Claire's traveler energy, right there on the ridge. This explains why the ridge feels so mystical throughout the series. It isn't just land, it's a living record. The suspense grows as we realize that the ending we are watching might actually be the beginning of the cycle. The script here focuses on the sensory details, the crunch of dry leaves that sounds like a ticking clock, the way the wind whistles through the trees like a distant Gaelic lament, and the haunting realization that Claire is finally seeing what Jamie has seen his whole life. They aren't just retiring to a quiet life, they are preparing for a transition that will cement their names in the stars. The forest acts as a veil, and in this final episode, that veil is at its thinnest. We are led to believe that the secret is a message left for Brianna and Roger, a final breadcrumb trail across the centuries, but the truth is much more profound and much more dangerous for the timeline as we know it. The true tension of the finale begins to boil over when we realize that the secret isn't just an object, but a presence. As the camera follows Jamie and Claire deeper into the thicket, the visual language shifts from a historical drama to something bordering on a supernatural thriller. We have to talk about the man in the shadows. For seasons, we have wondered how Jamie could appear in Inverness before Claire ever stepped through the stones. In this hidden corner of the forest, the script finally bridges that impossible gap. The shimmer in the air near the rowan tree begins to take shape, and the suspense reaches a fever pitch when Jamie doesn't look surprised. He looks relieved. This section of the ending explains that Jamie has always known his soul would be cast adrift across time, and the forest on Fraser's Ridge is the launchpad for that journey. The writing here emphasizes a chilling realization. The Jamie Fraser we are watching in the finale is the version that will eventually stand in the rain outside Claire's window in 1945. It is a heartbreaking loop of love and longing. The script focuses on the energy of the forest, explaining in simple terms that the gemstones Claire uses to travel have a natural counterpart in the earth of the ridge. The suspense is heightened by the sound design, a low, humming vibration that mimics the sound of the standing stones. This isn't just a goodbye, it's a ritual. We see Jamie touch the glowing bark of the tree, and for a split second, his hand becomes translucent. This is the secret that the show has kept under wraps. Jamie Fraser is a stationary traveler. While he cannot physically move his body through the stones like Claire or Brianna, his intense love and the unique minerals in the soil of the ridge allow his spirit to project across the centuries. This explains why he always told Claire he would find her, even if he had to endure 200 years of purgatory. The forest is the bridge. As a writer, I've structured this to make the audience feel the stakes. If Jamie fails to anchor himself here, the timeline where they meet in the 1940s might never happen. It turns a romantic ending into a high-stakes mission of fate. Every snap of a twig and every rustle of the leaves feels like the clock ticking down on their physical lives. Furthermore, we must look at the hidden map carved into the stones beneath the forest floor. In this section of the video, we explain that the ridge was chosen not by chance, but by destiny. Claire discovers a series of markings that match the blueprints of the stone circles in Scotland. The forest isn't just hiding a secret, it is a natural cathedral built over a thin place in the world. The suspense builds as Claire realizes that her presence in the 18th century changed the very geology of the land. Her traveler's aura has leaked into the environment over the decades, turning their home into a permanent gateway. This creates a bittersweet tension. They are safe from the war, but they are living on the edge of the universe. The script highlights the look of dawning horror and wonder on Claire's face as she realizes that they didn't just find a home, they created a permanent scar in time. This is the moment the audience understands that the forest is a character in its own right, guarding the Frasers' greatest secret from those who would use it for evil. As we conclude this section, the focus turns to the environmental clues. Notice how the flora around the secret site is different. It's lush, vibrant, and seemingly untouched by the seasons. This is the time stasis effect. The script explains this simply. The forest is where time stands still. For an audience looking for answers, this provides a massive aha moment.
You're only half bad
moment. It explains why the Frasers have aged so gracefully and why the ridge has survived against all odds. But there is a price for this secret. The suspense lingers on the idea of the Watcher. Someone else knows about this spot. As Jamie and Claire walk away, the camera doesn't follow them. It stays behind, peering out from behind a tree, suggesting that while the Frasers have found their peace, the secret in the forest is now being watched by a new, unknown player. This leaves the door cracked open just enough to keep the viewers' hearts racing, wondering if the end of the series is truly the end of the danger. The suspense shifts from the supernatural to the ancestral as we uncover the literal foundation of the forest's power. In the third act of our ending, we have to address the blood secret. For years, Outlander has teased the idea that blood sacrifice or lineage is the key to unlocking the stones, but here in the Forest of the Ridge, we see a more profound version of this law. As Jamie and Claire reach the heart of the hidden grove, they come across an old, weathered stone marker, one that wasn't placed there by a surveyor or a soldier, but by someone who knew the Fraser lineage better than they knew themselves. This section explores the chilling theory that the forest is a living will. The script focuses on a small, hidden cache beneath the roots of the rowan tree containing a series of letters wrapped in oilcloth. These aren't just love letters, they are instructions. The tension mounts as Claire realizes these letters were written in her own handwriting, yet she has no memory of writing them. This introduces the concept of the future past, a brain-bending twist that suggests Claire will eventually have to travel back to this very spot to bury these secrets for her younger self to find. It's a paradox that makes the forest feel like a trap and a sanctuary all at once. We explain this to the audience by focusing on the echo effect. Just as a sound bounces off a canyon wall, the Frasers' actions in the future are bouncing back into the past. The suspense isn't about a physical villain anymore. It's about the terrifying realization that they are locked in a cycle of their own making. The secret in the forest is that the Frasers are the architects of their own destiny, and the ridge is the blueprint. As the script continues, we delve into the mystery of the blue light. Fans have noticed that when Claire heals people, there is often a spiritual or energetic presence described in the books and hinted at in the show. In this final forest scene, that light is no longer a flicker, it is a flood. The trees themselves seem to be breathing with this blue energy. We explain that this is the source. The forest sits on a massive deposit of raw gemstone, the same material that makes the stones in Scotland work. But here, it is unrefined and wild. This creates a dangerous, suspenseful element. The ridge is a ticking time bomb of temporal energy. If the wrong person finds this grove, they wouldn't just travel through time. They could unravel the very fabric of the 18th century. The emotional weight hits its peak when Jamie reveals he has been visiting this grove in secret for years. He confesses that he has been feeding the forest with his prayers and his presence, acting as a guardian to keep the energy stable so Claire wouldn't be accidentally pulled back through time before they could live their lives together. It turns Jamie into a silent martyr who has been fighting a metaphysical war while Claire was focused on the medicinal one. The script emphasizes the simple English trade-off. To have their life together, Jamie had to strike a bargain with the land itself. The forest kept them hidden from the British and the revolutionaries, but in exchange, it claimed the ridge as a place that no longer belongs to any map. It is a ghost land, and as the section ends, the audience is left wondering, if the ridge is a secret, then what happens to the people who live there when the secret is finally told? The suspense takes a sharp turn from the mystical to the practical as we realize the secret isn't just for Jamie and Claire. It's a survival kit for the generations to come. In this fourth section, we look at the forest as a bridge for the Mackenzies. As the camera pans away from the elderly Fraserses, we see the hidden markers they have left behind for Brianna and Roger. The writing here focuses on the inheritance of time. Throughout the series, the fear was always that the family would be separated by centuries, but the secret in the forest reveals that they are never truly apart. We see a hollowed out tree trunk, a dead drop in the truest sense of the word, where Jamie has hidden a chest that contains more than just gold or land deeds. It contains a map of the ley lines, the invisible veins of the earth that connect the ridge to other portals around the world. The tension builds as we realize that the secret is actually a warning. The forest isn't just a peaceful retreat. It is a fortress that is starting to fail. The script explains in simple terms that the magic of the stones is finite. As the American Revolution fades into the background of history, the energy of the ridge is beginning to dim. This creates a race against time. If the Mackenzies ever need to return to the safety of the future, they have a very narrow window before the forest closes forever. The suspense is driven by the visual of the fading blue light we discussed earlier. It's like a battery running out of power. We explain to the audience that this is why the ending feels so final. It's not just the end of the show, it's the end of the connection between the 18th and 20th centuries. We also uncover the Watcher's identity. Remember that shadow we saw in the earlier sections? In this part of the script, we explore the theory that the person watching the Frasers in the forest is a descendant we haven't met yet. Or perhaps a version of William, Jamie's son, who has finally discovered the truth about his father's otherworldly nature. The suspense is palpable as we consider that the secret is being passed down like a curse. To know the secret of the forest is to be burdened with the knowledge of the future. The script highlights the contrast between the simple, rugged life of the 1700s and the heavy, complex burden of being a time guardian. Finally, this section addresses the golden year. There is a prophecy mentioned in the books about the Fraser's death, but the secret in the forest suggests a different fate. The script points out that the graves we saw earlier in the series, the ones that sparked so much fear, might actually be empty. The forest offers a way out, a third option that isn't quite life and isn't quite death. It's a state of being tucked away in time. The suspense lies in the ambiguity. Are we watching the Frasers walk toward their end, or are they walking into a permanent sanctuary that exists outside of the reach of history books? The simple English explanation here is that the forest is a save point in the game of life. By the end of this section, the audience is left breathless, realizing that the ridge is much more than a home. It's a legendary sanctuary that has successfully hidden the world's greatest mystery for over 200 years. The final mystery of the forest comes down to a single breathtaking image that brings the entire saga full circle. As the camera pulls back into a wide aerial shot, the suspense peaks not with a loud bang, but with a quiet revelation. When viewed from above, the paths Jamie and Claire have walked through the woods, combined with the placement of the standing stones and the rowan tree, form a specific shape on the landscape. It is the shape of the stag, the Fraser crest,